Hello and good morning here from the PrimeXBT Trading Academy to our very first episode of that room. My name is Dirk Hartig. I'm the head of trading education here at PrimeXBT.com. I'm also a professional trader with more than 20 years of experience. And today we are going to do something special. So the whole purpose of this exercise of this episode of this room of this new concept is going to be to show you some real life trading action, to walk you a little bit through my day of trading. So it's going to be quite a long stream, probably talking about maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, something like this, depending on how the market is doing today. We are going to do as I said already, live trading here. And so you are really going to see everything I'm doing. I opened a brand new account for this. I deposited some money on there. I'm going to execute live trades. I'm going to walk you really through every step of what I'm doing, risk management, why I enter a trade, why I exit a trade, and so on and so forth. It's all going to be day trading today. And if you have like any questions, anything, you can always leave me a comment here in the chats, as some people already are doing. You can, of course, also contact us by email. So academy@primexbt.com. You will get directly in touch with me and with my team and me there. And so don't be shy. If you, for example, have any assets, that you would like an opinion on, that you maybe would like to have included in today's action, day trading action, just drop me a message here, for example, on the YouTube chat, and I'll do my best, of course, to include that. All right. So before we start, obviously, a little bit of a risk disclaimer, guys. Here, I've been doing this for a very long time. And yes, I'm going to show you, hopefully, but depends, of course, how the market is doing today, some real life trading action. But just because I am doing that here, please, does not mean that you necessarily have to copy me one-to-one. My goal here at the PrimeXBT Trading Academy is always to educate you in a way, or to inspire you, that you are able to kind of develop your own trading strategies that are suitable, not only for your time budget, but also for your own risk management. Everybody out there has a different or perceives risk as something completely different. One person might not care about risking 10 or 20% per trade. Other people are really risk averse, maybe just risking 1%, or even just a quarter of a percent or 0.10% per trade. So it's really up to you. We are going to use some special type of risk management, in my opinion, but I try to adapt a little bit to the current situation. All right, I'm going to make my screen a little bit bigger here so you guys can see better. Let me move this window over here. And see some people already active in the chat here. So hi, everybody. And so what we are going to do today is, first of all, maybe let's start here with the fundamentals. I've set up, obviously, a trading account for this. I deposited some money, so I've around about $100,000 token ready here for trading. What I want to do now is I want to transfer those from my PrimeXBT wallet actually to my margin trading account. And we have a special offer actually for you there today. So if you would like to do some trading as well today, you have the opportunity of opening a trading account now. You'll find a link to open a trading account in the description of this video. If you use that link, you'll automatically also become a member of the PrimeXBT Trading Academy. That gives you some perks, like, for example, the promo code I'm going to present you right now. It also gives you the opportunity, if you have like any questions, anything, and you send us an email to academy@primexbt.com, you will always get your answer directly from me. So not saying, of course, that my team is not competent enough to answer your message, but you have direct access to me and ask any questions that will be directly answered by me. So that's pretty good. And if you haven't done so, you can, for example, here enter the promo code, which is called The Room. And if you activate this one, you'll see you will get a fee discount of 50% for the next 2 weeks. So until the 29th of March, that would be in this case for all deposits, I think it's greater than $20. And this, in my opinion, is much, much better than doing the whole thing with something like a bonus, for example, because PrimeXBT already has quite low fees. So if we look at this here, fees and condition here, for example, we can see, for example, that for crypto, Bitcoin, there's a fee of 0.05%. So in and out of the market costs you 0.10%. We are at 40,000 roundabout for Bitcoin. So that would be $40 if you trade a whole Bitcoin. And this is going to be cut in half for you. So this is really, really perfect for day trading, in my opinion. So you really might want to activate that promo code there, as I said, called The Room. Go for it. So first thing I want to do now is I want to transfer those 99,912 TIFA US dollar to my margin trading account. So I'm going to click on here. I'm going to click fund account. We're going to transfer everything. Here we go. So this one is ready for trading then. All right. Good. Have everything here. Balance. Good. We are ready. What we can also do then, because we are day trading and sometimes day trading action can be pretty intense, so you want to react very, very fast for on the market, you can activate one-click trading. So normally you'll see here regular trading activated. And that means, for example, if you want to buy a position, if you want to send the order, you always have to click on send order and then on confirm. What I like to do here is I like to activate one-click trading. Which means as soon as I click on here on the buy or sell button, my order is going to be immediately processed. Now you have to be careful. If you accidentally do like a 3-time click or double click, your order is going to be executed 2 or 3 times. So be careful with that. If you're not comfortable doing this, better stick to the regular trading there, of course. Before we start also, I want to later on, I'm going to explain to you, of course, here the day trading system I'm doing today. Actually, we're going to trade 2 different systems today to be more precise, in the chance to see some action here on the market. However, when I start my trading day, I of course always want to have a look first what happened while I was sleeping. For example, late night trading in America. What happened with the crypto markets while I was sleeping? How was Asia performing? How are the currency markets performing? And so on and so forth. And this especially is very, very important to do at the moment, because we are living in crazy times. We are either seeing totally flat markets, like, for example, maybe you notice on the weekend, Bitcoin was almost pinned to 39,000 US dollars, just trading sideways. Or we have sudden outburst really of volatility, like we saw, for example, that was this morning already, where suddenly there was a big order coming in and Bitcoin slumped down by 300 US dollars, and this is something we have to deal with at the moment. If we are day trading, it makes things a little bit more complicated. Of course, in day trading, you're always looking for volatility, but you also don't want this crazy type of volatility, where all of a sudden the market moves up or down by 10%. So we are going to do our very best to kind of prepare for the situation by being very, very selective in our trades. So let's have a look here first how America was performing yesterday. So the S&P 500 yesterday closed with a minus of 0.74%. For me, very important here as a day trader is always, how did the market perform, the stock market, in the last half hour to 1 hour of trading? And so this is this up here to the left right now. So, and what we can see here is actually we had a quite good start, and then throughout the day, slowly all the winnings of the days kind of dwindled away, and the market almost closed at the lowest point. And this is always a sign of weakness. So this is something very typical you'll see in a bear market, that in the early sessions, the markets might perform the stock markets in this case might perform very, very well. And throughout the day, then suddenly, it's kind of like traders are losing confidence. And so this is actually a bad sign. This is, or it's, if you are, of course, invested in stocks, it's a bad sign because it shows the market is kind of afraid. Especially important on Friday evenings. So if you see Friday evenings that the market is almost closing at the lowest point, the stock market, that is not a good sign for what is to come on Monday, because of course investors don't want to hold on to so-called risky assets over the weekend. Same, of course, with the Dow Jones. I'm not looking very much at the Dow Jones. I'm always looking in terms of stock market here as the S&P 500. It is the most important stock index. We are seeing here also the DAX, so the German index, quite heavy under fire. I believe we had numbers coming out, the economic numbers. We can have a look later at this. So stock markets, same here in the UK, not really good this morning. Let's jump over to oil, which has slumped down yesterday already under $100 per barrel. I kind of wonder when I'm going to notice this when buying gasoline for my car. So far, it's pretty solid at €2.30 per liter of gasoline here in Germany, at least in the area where I'm living. So quite expensive. We are seeing not so much action at the moment. Well, actually quite good. Euro dollar is kind of trying to get over 110 there again. So this is a bit actually contradicting what we are seeing on the stock market. You normally would expect when the stock markets are weak that the US dollar is going stronger, but we'll have a look more in detail on that later. Crypto markets today also a bit under fire again, but which could be actually good for us to see some intraday volatility. What we don't want as day traders, obviously, is like the market completely moving at a sideline, like plus $100, plus minus $100 in Bitcoin. That is, not what we want to see. All right. Okay. So in terms of volatility, probably not going to be like a super high volatile day today. Nonetheless, we want to be careful because with every bit of news coming out there, this really, really can change in an instant. And we don't want to be caught on the wrong side of a market. And how we can do this in our approach to risk management, I'm going to show you later, obviously, as well. Let's have a look at the economic calendar today. So I'm going to sort here by just the important things. So this so-called 3-star, trading economics calls this 3-star events. And let me reload this here quickly. Oh, it didn't come out yet. That's a bit weird. Maybe we should use my FX book instead. I think this one is not really updating very well. Let's see this one. Yeah. Always advertisement everywhere, right? Good. So let's see the impact here today. We have... Oh, okay, at 11, that is the economic index is coming out. So this will, for Germany at least, will be a high impact one. So in around about 1 hour, this is coming out in 44 minutes to be more precise. So we want to make sure at that time that maybe we are not super engaged, for example, in the German DAX, so the German stock index with a position, because fundamentals always outlie technical analysis. If there's a economic number coming out that is very, very different from what is expected, you're going to have a reaction in the market that you cannot forecast with any technical analysis. So it's usually the best idea at those times of the day to kind of stay out of the market. If you are in a position, this is really the time also where you want to implement the latest time where you would want to implement a stop loss just to, protect your money. And I wonder here, actually, can we change this to hold on a moment. Oh, anyway, doesn't matter. Do we have anything else of super importance? So not really today. After this ZEV Economic Sentiment Index, nothing up for the day that's going to be like terribly important. Tomorrow is going to be a day with much with more really important economic numbers, especially at night, where we are going to have the interest rate decision of the Federal Reserve Bank America. Everybody is expecting a rate hike of 0.25%. Maybe there's going to be a surprise to the upside. Who knows? Anyway, that's tomorrow. It's not concerning us today so much. So we just have to have an eye there at 11 a.m. CET to maybe not have a position that is really affected by this sentiment score we are seeing there. All right, so let's look at the different trading systems we want to use today. First of all, we are mainly going to use a trading system that I like to call RSI hooks. And I've introduced this trading system in a prior webinar I did called, I think, Day Trading Strategies for Beginners or something like this. You can rewatch that video, of course. It's here on YouTube. If you want to get more that, nonetheless, I want to walk you quickly through this, and let me maybe make this one a little bit larger so it becomes more obvious. So what this system consists of is actually two different indicators. We are having Bollinger Bands up here that are show us kind of the standard deviation of the market that we are going to use to determine whether the market maybe has reached a zone where it's, so to say, a little bit overbought or oversold. I don't like these terms really. But nonetheless, let's stick to them. And we are using a classic RSI where I have added a weighting moving average and where I have added an exponential moving average on this RSI. And I'm looking now for zones that are at the moment, because of my volatility expectation, I want to trade this a little bit more conservative. So I'm looking for action outside of this red band here. So north of this red dotted line here and south of this green dotted line. And whenever we see, and we saw this actually this morning already, for example, that that the RSI is going up from under this area of 30 here and is crossing the moving averages, then we want to go long. This, by the way, was not really a good signal, so we want to have a clear crossover there. Let's see if we find something else here. Yeah, maybe this one could have been something here. You see the RSI, which is the orange line here, and it's crossing over the moving average, so the blue line and the purple line here, and we would have entered the market here around this area. Ideally, we want the price to be under or at the lower Bollinger Bands here. And nonetheless, this would have been something you could have traded. You would have entered the market roundabout at 38,930. We want to, take profit when the market reaches the upper Bollinger Band, so the red line here. So probably we would have exited the market here around about 39,080. So a little bit of a trade, not like super much, would have earned like, what is that, $140. Always have to deduct the trading fees from that. Since we are trading with this 50% discount, we would have paid something like $18 to $20 in fees. Well, still would have left us, if we trade one whole Bitcoin, with a win there of $120. Not like the greatest trade there, but this really shows also why that day trading, in my opinion, from my experience, always consists of many little winnings you are doing through the day. You're probably going to have like this one trade, maybe that is extraordinary, where you earn a lot of money, but normally you will see smaller trades adding up to a nice amount by the end of the day. Of course, no guarantees for that, guys, and there are days, obviously, also where I lose money. And with a market like this, these days have become recently more regular because the markets move so irregular. But this is part of the game. You know, when you own a business selling cars or selling shoes or whatever, you'll also have days where you earn money. You'll have days where you lose money. By the end of a month, it's important to have the green number if you add up all your trades that you earned some money, or at least in the beginning didn't lose any money. So really, really simple. We are waiting for the RSI, the orange line here, to go under 30 or above 70, and then to come back crossing its moving averages to enter trades. I'm looking here at the moment at the 5-minute chart, a 15-minute chart of Bitcoin, a 30-minute chart, and a 1-hour chart. And basically, we are, for Bitcoin at least here now, going to wait until we see some action either to the downside or upside that gives us the opportunity to enter. I'm also parallel to this looking today at oil, so Brent that is in this case. But as you can see here, there's also not really something going on here at the moment. I'm going to look at gold US dollar. We actually had a signal here this morning quite early. I was still sleeping there, sadly, for an entry here at 1,927.28 roundabout. Potentially, this could move up to 1,950 still. Looks at the moment quite nice, the trade. We seem to have an entry also on the 1-hour chart here, but it's not really clear one, so probably not one I would have traded. So we are going to wait there as well. The DAX, as I said before, we are going to leave at the sideline for the moment, at least because we are expecting the ZEV sentiment index coming out by 11. So I don't want to enter a trade there. Euro dollar we are going to look at, and you can see here also nothing really happening. We are somewhere in between, so we have to wait until something comes out until we go up or down. So the RSI does some movement there really. And since, in my opinion, this probably would be, a little bit boring. To be honest, day trading can be very, very boring because it consists of a lot of waiting. You have to wait until the setup starts. So I think a lot of people have this picture in their head that, like a day trader, you have like constant action, clicking here, clicking there. And this is just not true from my opinion. Day trading mainly consists of waiting for the opportunity, waiting until you see the perfect setup, and then you enter the market. So it might really be that from this trading strategy in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, we are not going to see any action. That's how it is, but nonetheless, we have to stay cautious to wait for the setup. So since we want a little bit of action, of course, today, I decided that I also want to trade a 1-minute strategy, because with the low fees here at PrimeXBT, this is something you really can do. I'm seeing here at the moment trending view coin Binance. Okay, so we are trading here. I see the question. Let me maybe do the overlay here so you can see the questions as well. Like this, I see some questions here. So new comments will be displayed here. Okay, never mind. Anyway, so Coinbase, Binance, we are trading here today at PrimeXBT.com. As I said, you'll find a link to open an account in the description of this video. You can use this promo code called The Room for your account to get a fee reduction of 50%, which will mean if you, for example, trade Bitcoin, you will pay 0.025%. So in and out 0.05% for your whole trade, which is insanely cheap. They have very tight spreads anyway. So if you want to do some trading as well, I highly advise you doing it with PrimeXBT. This is where I'm trading, at least. So back to this 1-minute strategy. This is a cool indicator, in my opinion. I found a couple of weeks. Hold on a second, please. I found a couple of weeks at TradingView. It's called Fusion MBI. So the author of this indicator gives it away for free. You might want to check that out. And this is, in my opinion, as far as I can interpret it, really, it's a trending indicator. So it's an indicator that tries to capture trends. I've been watching this for a couple of weeks now, and I've decided I want to try this one out today and really just trade it by the book, which means every time we see the indicator going green here, we are going to buy Bitcoin. Every time we see the indicator going red, we are going to sell Bitcoin, in the hopes of catching a nice upwards trend like the one we actually were seeing here just now. So the system entered here at 38,390, and I had a good opportunity of earning already around about $300. I'm going to trade today rather small position sizes. So for this particular strategy here, I want to start with a size of 0.1 Bitcoin only, because first of all, I'm pretty conservative when it comes to my risk management. I'm not going to use leverage. As you can see, I have quite some funds here on this account here. I'm not going to leverage those, at least not in the beginning. So I'm going to start very conservatively. Because like with trend following systems, you always have the problem they are wrong pretty often, because they need some time to really catch a trend. And so the likelihood of us entering position and exiting it with loss, with just using this indicator, is quite high. Very sure we have a success rate there below 50%. But we want to compensate this, or I want to compensate it by trading larger positions once I have to exit a position with a loss here. So I'm going to start with 0.1 Bitcoin. Should the first position be a loss, I'm going to do 0.2 Bitcoin for the next position, 0.3, and so on and so forth, until the system is able to catch a really nice trend, like the one we saw here this morning, where it entered here around about at 38,800 and caught this nice trend going all the way down here to 38,100. So that's a plus of $700. We probably wouldn't have had or not exit here directly at the bottom, but if you can catch like maybe 150, 200, $300 with this kind of system, it's already great. So I'm going to leave this running here for you guys a little bit. We're going to mainly focus on this, and then parallel to this, we are going to wait until we see some action here from the RSI to enter trades in either Bitcoin, oil, gold, the German DAX, or Euro US dollar. So let's see if we see some nice setups there. You guys have any other assets that you would like me to include today in the day trading, in my day trading strategies? Like something you like to trade and that you want an opinion? If that is so, you can leave me a message here, like you're doing here already, and then I'm just going to include this. Of course, cannot be US stocks, by the way, because the market is not opened yet. Okay, so we are ready. We have our setup ready. We now have to wait until we see some action. We can parallel to this. I always like to have a little bit an eye on the news. In this case, I'm having my eye here on Bloomberg. There's always something nice called five things you need to know to start your day. So this is something I always like to read also. What we want to do here, actually, I'm seeing here at the moment, I want the countdown also. Where's that? Appearance. Where's the countdown? Here, countdown to bar close. So I always know when the next bar is opening. You can see that number counting down. So in 5 seconds now, the next bar is opening. The next chance that this indicator maybe will flip to red, and we enter our first trade of the day. So should we see some stretches today where really there is nothing going on the market? I'm not going to talk obvious all the time, so I might disappear for a minute or two and maybe get myself a new coffee or anything. So don't worry if you don't see my webcam all of a sudden anymore. This is normal. And in that case, should something happen out there, I come back and see, wow, there's a new trade we should enter. At that moment, I'm going to play a little video like this. So whenever I'm away and not there, and you see this one, this animation coming up, I'm going to enter a new trade. So maybe that's the point where you want to start paying extra attention to what we are doing there. Up to now, we are just going to wait until we see some action. So as I said, with DAX, we are not going to trade until 11. If we see, okay, we can on the 1 hour gold here, I would like actually the market to go a little bit further down until there is something coming up. 5 minutes not doing anything here. Oil pretty flat actually, and after we dropped under 100 US dollar per barrel, it's kind of going sideways here. Surprisingly, has been so volatile the last days. Bitcoin also 5 minutes, nothing at the moment there. So yeah, for the moment, we really can concentrate, see if we get our first entry signal from this 1 minute trading system. Again, guys, if you trade on 1 minute, you need your fees, your trading fees, to be as low as possible. So really, in that case, you want to make sure that you use this promo code 0.05% is already low, 0.025% is even lower. Every dollar you save in trading fees is going to be $1 more in your pocket by the end of the day. When you're day trading, especially on 1 minute, 5 minute charts, this has an enormous impact. There are a lot of days, where I see by the end of the day, okay, maybe I earned $1,000, but I also paid like 500, 600, 700 US dollars in trading fees. So if I can save out of those 500 to 700 US dollars, maybe 300, 400 US dollars, this is more money in my pocket by the end of the day. So really, I'm thankful that PrimeXBT is offering this to us traders. Makes the likelihood of ending the day with a nice plus even better. So what are we seeing here on Bloomberg? Seeking drones. All right. So this is also one thing you want to do. You want to have an eye always on the news, what is going on there, because always remember, fundamental things are always going to outweigh anything that you can measure with technical trading systems. Question here I'm seeing. PrimeXBT, do you trade at all according to order book instead of price and indicators, or it always has to be in combination with other indicators, or you don't? So order book, I think you mean probably something like it's not. I cannot do it here on TradingView, sadly, where you see like I think with different graphs here on the right, like where large orders are sitting, and you kind of can determine where to expect the prices moving. I'm not very much a trader of so-called order book action. I know some people that are really, really successful with that. For me, I'm more the classic type of traders. For day trading, I like to use indicators. I use actually nowadays a lot of machine learning for forecasting mid to long-term positions where the market could go. But if we want to talk about something like this, we are just getting started. This is a little bit like you are learning to drive, and you on your first driving lesson, you want to enter a Formula One race car already. You're probably going to crash it somewhere, or maybe you're not be able to start it at all. So I like to keep it simple for the moment. In the upcoming episodes of the room, of course, we can always build up on that. And sure, order book action is something we can look at as well. In my opinion, although it's something that makes more sense to do with stocks, where you have like a centralized exchange where all the order flow action is incoming. So if, for example, if you want to trade Tesla by the order book, you're probably going to get the data from the New York Stock Exchange, because most of the day trading or of the daily trading of a Tesla share is done on the New York Stock Exchange. When it comes, for example, for Bitcoin, you have all those different exchanges that all have different order books. And I don't think there's like one that combines it at all into all. You could use maybe perpetual futures to do so, but you're still going to have price differences there. So sorry, long talk to answer your question. In short, I'm not using this for Bitcoin. I know, however, people who do so very successfully, for example, order book action on stocks. I'm maybe more of a classic type that likes to use indicators in order to get a view on the market. But indicators, of course, are also just the price displayed in a different way, right? So it's not like showing you that not the price itself is already showing you. All right, still no action there. We're still waiting for our 1 minute system to do something as well. So let's continue here looking at, okay, luxury goods banned, McDonald's banned in the US, nickel trading. So yeah, there was something going on there. No, isn't there somebody like a Chinese trader who has like this large nickel short position, and that kind of short squeezed the market, and he's like super underwater with his position. I read something like that. Yeah, China wants to avoid being impacted by US sanctions. Of course, they're exporting a lot of stuff to the US. Concern going as a Chinese company will face after American officer and Russia. Yeah, there's a little bit beef, yeah, because I think Russia wanted drones from China. Traders are ramming on the amount height. This is interesting. Yeah? Of course, everybody is like expecting rate hikes of the interest rates in 2022. I mean, the Fed said also they are going to do that, but like because of the economic effect this crisis, this war between Russia and the Ukraine has on the market, it also could be a catalyst actually leading to, after they hike the rates, to declining rates again, because they need to start to stimulate the markets again. It's a bit crazy. It seems like every time the Fed wants to taper, so wants to stop the quantitative easing, there's some sort of macroeconomic thing going on the market, some crisis brewing that is leading to them to have to continue the quantitative easing, to buy those corporate and treasury bonds from the United States. It's a bit crazy, and I think we're seeing the effects now on the high inflation rates we are seeing worldwide. So, okay, still waiting here for the first trade. Really kind of a boring morning, this. Maybe we chose the wrong date here for doing this show. So ideally, what we would like to see in Bitcoin here is maybe it jumping up to around about 39,000 US dollars. That would mean we are going to see some action of the RSI here above 70, maybe a cross down. Let's talk maybe a little bit about risk management. Okay, here the trend continues actually. So you could see here, and this is really what I like about this indicator. And it's the different shades of green, for example, for this uptrend it's displaying here. It caught the trend very nice. And you could see the trend was weakening by this dark green instead of this bright green, but it's still not immediately turning around and exiting the market. So this is quite interesting. And I like to test actually new indicators like this by using this with a little bit of money, because in my opinion, it's always nice to do trades on a demo account, for sure, especially if you don't have any experience. But you are never going to be able to copy one-to-one your results from the demo account to a real account, because you don't have the the emotions going on. It's a whole different story if you are, for example, long one Bitcoin on a demo account, or you're or you're long one Bitcoin on a real money account, and you see the position going against you, and you see like, oh my God, I'm like minus 500, minus 1,000, minus 3, minus 10,000 US dollar. My position's underwater. Or maybe also the opposite. My position's suddenly up 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 US dollars. So this is something a demo account cannot teach you. And this is a huge portion of trader success, to be able to handle those emotions, really. Good. Once we see some action here from the RSI system, I'm going to at first not use leverage, because one of my tactics at the moment, because the market is so crazy, is that I like to sometimes scale into positions. So for example, if I want to build up a position of one Bitcoin, I might start by if it's a short position, by selling at first 0.3 Bitcoin. If a market continues against me and I'm going to get further signals, I'm going to top up on the position. Because what we are seeing at the moment is that sometimes the market likes to really crazy move in one direction. Let me see if I can find something for you. So for example, what we saw here, market was moving down. We were getting some action here from the RSI, tempting us to buy it, but it continued first sideways. And if we make a new low after this, and I have the opportunity to add up to my position, I'm going to do so instead of throwing all my money at once onto the market. I'm also, as I said earlier, not going to use much leverage. I'm not going to use leverage in the beginning, at least, at all. Here we go. Because first of all, I don't have to, with an account balance like this, I don't necessarily have to use leverage. And in this type of market, where all of a sudden moves of several percent to the upside or downside because of, I don't know, Mr. Putin tweeting something, or there are new developments in the Ukraine, which will definitely, of course, move the markets, I want to be very, very careful about that. We have another question here from Captain Cruz. Nice name, by the way. I like it. Any tips for overcoming the psychological challenges of trading? For example, fear of holding a winning trade to target. Yeah, this is a very, very good question. And as I said, this is the hardest part of trading, in my opinion, especially if you're in a winning trade. We kind of tend to always to exit winning trades too early. Like let's take this trade, for example, where we would have entered the market here around about at 38,000, let's say 400 US dollars. And maybe if we saw it going up here all the way, seeing like, oh wow, we are up like 150 US dollars already, or 100 US dollars, the temptation, of course, is there to exit the trade. And maybe like 3 out of 10 times, it's actually the good decision and the wise decision to do so, because the market is going against you again then, and maybe you are stopped out in minus, or maybe you are stopped out at your break even there. But the problem here is that we are keeping ourselves from really catching some nice trends up. And the best example really was this trade here this morning. You see where we entered actually quite low the market. It went sideways, 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 and then suddenly the market moved into our direction. And to be honest, it's all a matter of experience. At least this is how I kind of overcame this for myself. I also remember in the beginning, I was very, very happy and euphoric when I saw trades going in my favor, into my direction. I would become very angry if the trade would go in my direction and then reverse, and I ended up with a loss. Would actually beat up myself psychologically, saying, Dick, why are you so stupid? Why don't you take winnings? And there's this saying, I think nobody has gotten poor from taking winnings. I don't agree with that at all. It's super important that you try to catch as much action in a trade as possible. And you can only overcome that, first of all, if you trade with a position size that is comfortable for you. What do I mean by this? So, for example, let's say you have 10K on your account, 10,000 US dollars. If you enter a position where a move of, let's say, 100 US dollars in Bitcoin upwards means you win 1,000 US dollars. So you're kind of leveraging 1 to 100, or in this case, of course, you're going to get more nervous, because it means on the opposite, if the position moves against you, that your account is going to be eaten up very, very, very fast. So you might want to start trading with, when the market moves 100 US dollars for or against you, it means a plus or minus of 10 US dollars. And you're going to do so several times a day. Maybe you do this like 10, 20, 30 times a day. So by the end of the day, it's going to add up as well. And once you feel comfortable with this type of monetary move, and you can move up your game. There's like nothing wrong when you say, okay, I don't want to risk 10 US dollars now. I'm going to risk 50 US dollars. So start with, kind of monetary moves that are comfortable for you. And one baseline for doing so, by the way, also is that you do not risk money that you cannot afford to lose. Like in my case, for example, this portion of my whole net worth, so to say, that I'm using for trading is at the moment around about 10%. If I, for whatever reason, would lose this money, for example, today because I made a mistake, or I enter a trade and suddenly the market moves like crazy against me, of course it would be horrible for me. Nobody likes to lose so much money. But by the end of the day, it wouldn't mean that I go bankrupt. Would be like, oh, okay, what a bummer that this happened, but I still have 90% of my fortune left. So means never risk anything on just one trading strategy, on just, for example, day trading. I think it's a good idea, if you really want to get into day trading, start with around about 10% of what you have in liquid assets. So if you have a 10,000 US dollars that you want to invest, that you want to use for trading, maybe use 1,000 of those US dollars for trading, and have realistic expectations too. So we all know those stories of people out there that, stories like, wow, I started with 100 US dollars and now I'm a millionaire. And I can tell you, this is 99.99% of the time, pardon my English, bullshit. And in all my years, I've never, ever seen anybody that's traded, managed to trade 100 US dollars into $1 million US dollars. And especially not like within a month or a year or something like this. So if you are able, for example, to earn something like 0.1 to 1% per day on your trades, you are going to have an amazing yearly performance already. And I'm super aware that it's like, if you have like 500 US dollars just that you maybe can use for trading, it's like super frustrating when I tell you something like this. But what you can do then, for example, is you still use those 500 US dollars for trading. You trade conservatively and you build up a track record. And then later on, you can present this track record to investors that are looking for people. There are always people out there that have a lot of money that are looking for traders that manage their money. And if you present them with something like, hey, look, with good risk settings, I was able to turn my 500 US dollars. I made a return of 20 or 30% in a market where banks only pay you 0% of interest or even charge you interest. You are for sure going to find people that tell you, you know what? Here you have 100,000 US dollars. Here you have 500,000 US dollars. Here you have $1 million US dollars. Can you please trade this for me? Because you're apparently doing a good job. This is how I started, by the way, as well. I wasn't born with a golden spoon in my mouth. I had to work my way up there as well. And so if you are able to do that, get in touch with me. And I'm more than happy, of course, to connect you to people that are looking for opportunities for talented traders out there, and are more than willing to fund you. And when you get your revenue share of 20, 30, 40%, depending on how successful you are. That was a short question, and I always tend to answer them very, very long. So we are still waiting. My God, this is a slow day. Almost 1 hour live already, and we haven't seen any action here in the market so far. The oil moving down. Maybe we can see something there. Crystalline, but it's really, really a slow market. I was hoping we see some more volatility in Bitcoin today, but okay. We have to stay patient. Even on this 1 minute system, we haven't seen any change in trend for the past hour. We should have gone online, maybe live a little bit earlier, then we would have caught this trade here at 10:13. That would have been a nice first trade, right? But anyway, we have to wait here a little bit. Time for some coffee. You are very much welcome, Captain Cruz. This is what I'm here for. So have you guys seen or heard yesterday of the vote in the EU Parliament concerning the proof of work ban? So essentially, the EU was voting yesterday on banning Bitcoin in the EU. Have you guys heard about this? Did you read anything about this? Oh, maybe we're going to get some action here soon. Let's see. So basically, there was a proposal in the EU that was voted in the EU Parliament for, that was to ban the proof of work mining consensus. So Bitcoin is using a mining consensus called proof of work. And this is a little bit under fire because it consumes supposedly a lot of energy. So the Bitcoin network, the mining network, I think nowadays consumes as much energy per year as, for example, the Netherlands. And with these discussions about saving energy, especially here in Europe at the moment, because especially Germany is normally buying a lot of gas from Russia, of course, it was, you know, it's kind of putting oil into the fire of the skepticism for Bitcoin. So there was this proposal to ban all cryptocurrencies basically from Europe that use this proof of work consensus, which would have banned Bitcoin essentially from Europe. All trading activity, all mining activity, which doesn't take place in Europe anyway, not to a large extent in comparison to other countries of this world. But yeah, as Captain Cruz just says, luckily the parliament voted in favor. Oh, we have our first trade here, guys. So we're going to sell. Here we go. See, it turned red here, indicated that we are should short the market, which I just did. So we entered the market here with 0.1 Bitcoin at 38,501. So let's see how this plays out. We're going to keep an eye on it. Finally, the first trade for today. Lucky we are using this 1 minute system as well. Quickly look how the other ones are doing. Not so much action here. Nothing. Oil, also nothing. Really a slow market, like throughout all asset classes today. Interesting here, 5 minutes. Look at this. I mean, this is kind of interesting, yeah? That we should leave our fingers away from the DAX for now. This entry at 13,629 actually would have been quite a nice trade. Would have had the opportunity to exit it here with maybe 80, 90 points of profit already in the DAX, but I choose not to do this because, as I said, in 5 minutes we are going to have this ZEV consumer confidence thing going on. Good. Let's see. If you wonder that there's a price difference, for example, between my chart here and my trading prices, don't worry about it. This is because the chart is based on perpetual futures. And I'm not trading at PrimeXBT, the perpetual future. So you'll have a little bit of price difference, but it doesn't matter because the move itself, like to the downside, hopefully in this case, is going to be the same. So let's see how this trade plays out, if we are going to see declining prices, or if the market, if a trend system is going to flip to the upside. Should that be the case, we're going to exit this trade and going to do the next trade then with 0.2 Bitcoin. So not a lot of money we're risking there, because also for me, this is a completely new system, which I want to just get a feel for it, how is this performing, this indicator performing under real life circumstances. Obviously, I'm not willing to risk like thousands of US dollars per trade with something I yet have to get more experience with. Good. Another question from I'm the chosen one. You're the chosen one. You have taken the red pill or blue pill? What was that in the Matrix? PrimeXBT Academy, are you using volume profile in your advanced strategies? How about TBO footprint chart, open interest delta, and CVD? These charts are provided, for example, by Exo charts. I'm using volume profile on some of my strategies. However, I'm using this more as input for my machine learning strategies. And I'm not using this for manual trading very much. I'm not using, Delta, of course, I use for option trading. However, I don't know Exo charts, never work with them, should have a look later on to see how that is. As I said before, I like to keep for trading, at least for day trading, I like to keep things as simple as possible. I used to work with a lot of different things attached to my charts, but over the years, I've come to the conclusion that I prefer it simpler. But if you, of course, are somebody that says, okay, I need volume profile for my trading, well, then go for it. This is exactly, the goal of this whole exercise, that we get you to a level of education where you can make decisions like this for yourself. That you say like, okay, Dirk, this is nice what you're doing there, but I want to use volume profile. By the way, I like to use Renko charts sometimes. So this is something maybe we could do on the next episode of that room. Include some Renko charts as well, with some strategies there to get more signals, because up to now the day is really, really boring. But at least we have our first trade here. Market moving sideways. We have to see how this one develops. Anything new on the news there, maybe? UK announces ban on exports of luxury goods to Russia. Well, that was to be expected, of course. UK unemployment drops below pre-COVID for the first time. Okay. Not much going on. Tell you what, guys, I'm going to draw myself a new coffee, and I'm going to be back then in round about 5 to 10 minutes, and maybe we're going to see some more action on the market then. All right, see you then. All right, here I am again. Maybe you saw that the Fusion MBI switched to green again. So what I did is I closed the old position of 0.1 Bitcoin, opened a buy position along Bitcoin 0.2. So let's see if we are now catching a nice trend there. So ideally, Bitcoin moves towards 39,000 US dollars. If that shouldn't be the case, next time we trade 0.3 Bitcoin. Let's see how that is. I see a question here from Bernard. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Good morning, Dick. Do you think that the Fusion MBI indicator is also useful for longer time frames? I personally haven't tried it for longer time frames, but usually those trend following indicators are actually quite good for longer time frames. So I mean, we can have a look here actually. If we switch here to a day, yeah, you'll see probably the results are kind of the same. Sometimes catches the trend quite nice, sometimes enters too late. So probably it's the same, like just switched by the way, as we can see here today to negative again. Those trend following indicators are always bad if you have a sideways market. As you can see here, we have an extended sideways range at the moment in Bitcoin between, this is a daily chart now here on the upside, somewhere at 45,000. Let me use my drawing tool here. So around here. Downside, we are limited here at around about 36,000, sometimes a little bit lower, sometimes a little bit higher. So quite an extended sideways range. And as you can see, these trend following indicators have always difficulties because they enter the market quite late. When the market reverse again, they enter to the opposite side and so on and so forth. That's why, you have to kind of trick them by, first of all, not risking too much per trade. Because the success rate probably is going to be below 50% for indicators like this. And you probably, if you want to be successful with these types of indicators, you need to up your position once you had a losing trade. This is why I'm doing this at the moment. And this is also the reason why I'm obviously not starting with trading 1 Bitcoin, then the next position 2 Bitcoin, 3 Bitcoin. I mean, if the market goes sideways the whole day, I end up with having to trade 10 Bitcoin, which is going to be a position size that is for sure going to put the sweat onto my forehead already. I don't want to do that. So maybe if you combine it with other indicators. So what would be interesting, and I'm working on that actually at the moment, but it's not presentable yet, is combining this type of indicator, this Fusion MBI, with more of a momentum indicator. Momentum indicator is, for example, something like the RSI. So the RSI is nothing else than showing you for a certain period, in this case 14 candles, is the market much higher than what you would expect than the average price? When you see the RSI going here above 70, or is it much lower? So it's kind of an indicator measuring standard deviation in the expectation that the price returns to the middle of the standard deviation. So standard deviation, for you, those of you maybe who had statistics or something, is always something where you have this so-called Gaussian bell curve. Excuse my my drawing skills here. So in a certain period, prices tend to be here where the bell is the largest. Sometimes you have prices more to the extreme on the left, sometimes prices to the extreme of the right, which in this case, these extremes are the upper band and the lower band of the RSI. So if you combine this maybe with the trend following indicator, and for example, you say something like, as long as the Fusion MBI shows you that the market is in an uptrend, and maybe you have the RSI at the lower band, so below 30, maybe that's a good chance to enter the market. There, it's just speculation right now. I really have to try that and test that a little bit before I, would use that with significant amounts of money in real life trading. But interesting. I'll have a look into that, and maybe we can talk about that in the next episode of The Room then. So let's check our RSIs here. It's still boring. I mean, especially oil. What is going on the oil market? It's like sideways. Dump down below 100, and now just moving sideways. This is so contrary to anything else we've seen on the oil market lately, right? You see the crazy volatility we used to have, but this is the way it is. And this is also, actually, I'm quite thankful for this because it shows you what, in my opinion, for most new traders out there is the most difficult part of day trading. Apart from this psychological effects we were talking about earlier, that is patiently waiting until you get a setup. And it's crazy. In the last weeks, I had days sometimes where I went home at night where I had like 40 trades, all just from this RSI strategy, by the way. And but I'm also, of course, looking at more markets than just the ones I'm showing you here. I've selected a few now because if we look at 30 or 40 markets parallel, things are going a little bit crazy. I would be busy typing all the time and would not be able to talk to you. And sometimes you have days where I just have like 1, 2, or 3 trades or no trades at all. Also, this can happen. And it's okay. It's important to patiently wait until your setup is there and until it's a good setup, until you feel like, yeah, this setup here in euro dollar 50-minute chart is exactly what I want to see. It's RSI went above 70, came really nice down. You entered the trade here at 109.67. It didn't go all the way down here. So you'll probably, once we would have reached here the middle Bollinger Band, put your stop loss to break even. When the market came up again, you were stopped out. But c'est la vie, still a good trade, good trading setup. So let's see how this one is doing. Maybe we're going to see some more action to the upside there. So not much moving here also on the 1-minute charts. Question here from Max Power 009. Do you set stop loss and take profit when entering a trade? Normally, yes. So for every swing trade I'm doing, so swing trade is typically a trade where I plan on staying in the trade for at least a couple of days to a couple of weeks. I'm going to set a stop loss and take profit. And let me open here maybe the long-term chart of Bitcoin to show you that. What is my long-term chart? ETH the first one. Here we go. So here, for example, for my long-term chart in Bitcoin, I would, if I get whatever signal, or a swing trade can also be based, in my opinion, on fundamental facts, by the way. For example, I say now, a typical trade here would be maybe, let me put this line again. We have the resistance as we just found out about this area. This one has to be green. So we see that the market is oscillating at the moment between here somewhere around 45,000, on the low side somewhere at 36,000. So trading strategy there would be, for example, that I say, okay, once the market is approaching this area here, maybe goes down to 37, 36,500, I'm going long, I'm going to buy Bitcoin. And in this case, yeah, I would place my stop loss probably here somewhere at 35 of 34,000 US dollars, and aim on with the intention that the market reverses here and goes up to drawing tool. Where's my drawing tool? Here. So I would enter the market maybe here, have a stop loss here or here or here, because the expectation would be that the market goes again into this area here of over 40,000. So I would have a nice risk reward ratio. If I enter at 37, have my stop loss at 35, I risk 2,000 US dollars per Bitcoin. But my expectation is that Bitcoin goes to 44,000, let's say. So I could earn 44 minus 37, 7,000 US dollars by just risking 2,000 US dollars. Nice risk reward ratio, because I can earn more when I risk. And yes, I would enter this immediately upon entering the trade. However, when I'm day trading, the market shows some action to the upside here finally. So we are getting a little bit good. When did we enter? Still, we are going to enjoy the ride here a little bit. When I'm doing day trading, if it's a normal market, like let's say it's a pre-COVID market, not a pre-COVID, a pre-Ukraine-Russia war market, I probably, at least here on the 5-minute charts, usually would work with stop loss and take profit right away also. So what I could do here is if I, for example, would have entered the trade here, I would have looked where was the last low. I have to zoom pretty much out here, so that would have been here at 38,000. Probably would have set my stop loss there, put my take profit at the upper Bollinger Band. Of course, I need to adjust that because the Bollinger Band came down here. And then I just, let the nature of the market takes its course. But at the moment, I'm not doing this because the market is so crazy. So my risk management at the moment is that I tend to choose lower positions for giving me the opportunity to, for example, buy more than once. So if I entered the market, for example, on this trade here, I probably would have traded with something like 0.3, 0.4 Bitcoin, because if the market continues to go down, that I still have some powder in the keg to start buying. So I'm not throwing all my money at once, but I'm trying to slowly scale into the market, because sometimes the markets really move crazy. And what you'll see often at the moment is that once we've reached these lower or upper bands of the RSI, that the market tends to continue into this direction, at least for a moment. So I'm kind of averaging myself into the market. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like for every beginner trading, it's like one of my mantras actually is, guys, always use a stop loss. Because what beginner traders usually do is that they, now the market comes down again, that they throw too much money at once into one position. So you'll very often see something like somebody trading, let's say, with $500, and because there is leverage of, for example, 1 to 200 available, opening a position of 0.5 Bitcoin or a whole Bitcoin or something. And then the market just, and here we go again, we need to reverse the position. I'm not very lucky up to now with this one. So 0.3 now. Let's see if we now catch a trend. So over leveraging. And then the market just needs to move a little bit against you and you've basically blown your account. This is like as if I would, for example, with 100,000 here, if I would trade a position of 100 million Bitcoin. So that would be not 100 million Bitcoin, 100 million US dollar tokens. That would be a leverage of 1 to 100 in this case. And of course, if the market just moves a little bit against me, like a couple of $100 US, I would have blown my account totally. You never want to do that. You always have to be aware that it's very, very likely that you don't make a profit with your position. We are seeing that at the moment here with this 1-minute strategy. So market is moving sideways, and this Fusion MBI indicator has difficulties, tracking the real trend, because there is no trend. We are moving sideways. So what we do is we enter and re-enter and re-enter until finally the market today decides for at least the next couple of hours to move into one direction. And for sure, if this continues, for example, and we end up with a position size of 1 Bitcoin here eventually, I probably would say, you know what, let's call it a day. Seems like the market wants to move sideways. I've reached my limit or what I'm willing to risk with the strategy today. I'm going to call it a day and do not any more trades with the strategy. And yeah, I hope this answers your question a little bit. Another question here. I think that's cool that you asked so many questions. It's really super, super good. Are you tracking the performance of different strategies? Which is the best performance strategy that you use? Maybe it would be more beneficial to show some proven strategy than testing a new one. As I said, I'm just testing the new one here because I wanted to have something that we, see some live trading action in case of that my proven strategies here For example, the one here with the RSI hooks does not give us any signals because it's kind of boring. We are sitting here, we are waiting for a trading signal, and nothing really happens at the moment, and on any of the markets that I'm currently monitoring. That's the only reason I choose to do that. You are, of course, absolutely right. Under normal circumstances, I would probably not trade the strategy. I would just monitor it. But, I'm most willing to put some money on the table so we can see some live trades with this. And, I've monitored this for a couple of weeks now. It tends to work very well, except, of course, when we are in those sideways markets. The trading strategy I'm showing you here, the RSI hooks, is a proven strategy. And if you go back and watch the video where I introduced this strategy, the day trading strategies for beginners, a video on YouTube, that was a webinar from, I think, a couple of weeks ago. I also show you the track record, at least for that day, for that strategy on different assets. So yes, I'm doing that. But again, guys, the essence of the PrimeXBT Trading Academy is not to provide you with something where you can just copy trade. For that, we have co-vesting. Yeah, you can use the co-vesting module on PrimeXBT if you don't have the time to trade yourself, or maybe you don't want to trade yourself. It's perfectly okay. Then use co-vesting. Look there for strategy managers, that have a good track record, that show good performance, and then you put your money there on the table and let the engine copy them. My goal here really is to get you to a educational point where you can develop your own strategies. And part of that, what I want to do is that I show you how do I go by trading for a day. And of course, I would have wished, like in the 1.5 hours we are live streaming here now already, that we would have seen some trading action already. But this is the market. As I said, we have to wait until we see a signal here from those proven strategies. Good. The market is really, it's so choppy at the moment, sideways, but let's see. Could you please advise how to find the daily support and resistance? Yes, of course. Question here from InfoSec Matters. Daily support and resistance. So let's have here the Bitcoin chart again. It's very simple. Or in terms actually for Bitcoin, there are two methods of doing that. I can delete this actually. This is from back then. So the simplest method, and this is for any asset class out there, is get a daily chart, and then you start at the top and go all the way down. And wherever you see like kind of that the market is stalling, for example, in these areas here, there's an area of resistance in this case when the market is below that. So what is when the market tends to come back to this area, it's a zone of resistance because the market has stalled there before. So you might want to put some red lines here or whatever you choose to be, or a box like this or something like this. It's really simple as this, and you can work your way down. It's not a science, it's more of an art. So wherever you see like, okay, here the market stalled, there the market stalled, there the market stalled, okay, I'm going to put some lines here. And as we can see, when we came back here, the market also had difficulties going over that again, and so on and so forth. This is what I did here basically. And a really, really good, let's monitor this by the way, a really good trading strategy, especially if you don't have a lot of time on your hands, if you have a job to attend to 9 to 5 or maybe even more hours, is do that for a couple of assets. Don't do that like for hundreds of different stocks and assets and so on and so forth. You are going to, it's going to be too much work. What you want is like maybe 10 minutes, 50 minutes in the morning where you have a quick look at the assets of your choice and make the decision. Is an area where it's good to enter a trade. And like I just said, it's completely a solid trading strategy in this case to decide something like, hey, the market is moving sideways. it has difficulties, as it seems, to get over this area here of around about 45,000 US dollars. So what I'm going to do is, if the market is approaching there, my hypothesis is going to be, yeah, well, maybe the market is going to stall there again and bounce off. So I can enter a short trade here with the expectation that the market will go down at least into this area again, and I'll put a stop loss, maybe not directly here at 45,000 US dollars, but it's slightly a little bit higher than, you know, where the tops and like this one, and this one were last time. So maybe here, which would be, let's say, 47,000 US dollars. So you would have entered at, let's say, 44,000. You have a stop loss at 47,000. You have a take profit somewhere here at 36 or 37,000 US dollars. Super good risk reward ratio trades like this. Even if the market breaks out then and your stop loss is hit, your risk reward ratio still is very, very beneficial for you, because you have just you had the opportunity to earn multiple times of what you're risking. And this means you just need to, if you have a risk reward ratio of 1 to 1.5, so you're, for example, risking 1,000 US dollars to earn 1,500 US dollars, that means you just need to be correct 42 or 43% of the time to not lose money. So your chances are already better than a coin flip. And you can do this very easy in the morning. You know, you do that for a couple of assets, you analyze that, you say like, okay, sideways trends. At the moment, sideways trend usually means you have an upper and lower band and the market is oscillating between that. I'm going to place my limit sell order maybe up here. Can also place a limit buy order down here. So that's very easy. I'm gonna switch here to regular trading in order to show you that. So you would choose not a market order here, a limit order. For example, you say like, what did we say just now? Lower band, let's say at 37,000. 37,000. You click here, and then you can place your stop loss and your take profit. Immediately, you can do this for both sides. And then you can also click here, how long do you want this order to be valid? For example, you want this order just to be valid for 1 day. Or for the day. You see when the order expires then, and then you can send the order, you can close your laptop, close your app or whatever you are trading on, and go to work, and everything is good. The system is automatically going to monitor your order there. So this is a great strategy. This is something actually I was doing as well when I was not trading full-time yet, when I, you know, still had clients to attend during the day and I couldn't stick to my monitors all the time. It's very hard to, in the long term, to lose money, but you have to be very disciplined in keeping your stop loss and in sticking to your stop loss. So what you don't want to do is, once the order approaches your stop loss, that you say like, oh, you know, now the market, I hope the market is still going my direction, I'm going to take my stop loss out. Don't do that. Always see that, how is the strategy performing when I'm looking at, for example, 100 or 1,000 trades. This is how I found this strategy, by the way, as well. Although it bores the hell out of us today. It just doesn't want to deliver anything good in terms of entry sizes. And also our 1 minute strategy is suffering from the sideways markets. But let's see. Very often days like this, eventually, as the more we get to the point of where the US stock markets are opening, the more action we are going to see. Anyway, we are still going to monitor this, I would say, here for half an hour. And if we still do not see any action, then we are going to call it, at least for the stream today here, a day. I'm going to edit this video a little bit. I don't think people that have not attended here today want to watch like 2 hours of not really things happening here. And I'm for sure going to keep you updated anyway. So for today, if there are still signals coming in from the strategy, I'm going to put those under the edited version of the video so you can see like, okay, this is later on where Dirk entered and exit positions, okay? Because I don't want you want to keep you in front of your monitor, in front of YouTube for too long. But let's see. We still have half an hour to have the chance to see some action there. By the way, anything about this is also very important. If you are on the PrimeXBT website, first of all, here under products, if you click on Academy, you find the PrimeXBT Trading Academy with all our latest videos and my nice bald head on most of the thumbs. So this is what we are doing here at the moment right now. I also would super much appreciate if you leave us a like on YouTube, if you subscribe to the channel, obviously. For me, it's, the more the merrier, and anybody who wants to learn a little bit of trading and not, step into the same traps that I had to step as a trader, I'm very thankful if they want to join the channel here. Another thing I wanted to show you here is under about fees and condition. This is really important. You can find like the trading conditions. So for example, if we look here at Bitcoin US dollar, you see the commission is 0.05%. If you have chosen to use the promo code THEROOM, it's 0.025% for you for the next 2 weeks. So half of it, you see the minimum order size, you see the maximum single trade size. So that would be 100 Bitcoin at the moment. You see the maximum leverage in terms of Bitcoin, that's 1 to 200. That means if you, for example, have 1,000 US dollars, US dollar tokens, for example, or Bitcoin worth 1,000 US dollars, on your margin trading account, you could trade up to 200,000 in a single trade with it. However, I do not advise you to do that. That is basically, like going all in when playing poker or roulette. You might be successful, but the likelihood of the position failing is very much higher, not to mention the kind of emotional roller coaster probably this will put you through. And so, and as you can see here, not every crypto has the same leverage. So for example, for Cardano, PrimeXBT offers a leverage of 1 to 20. This has to do with the liquidity. So Bitcoin and also Ethereum, which also has a leverage of 1 to 200, are the most liquid cryptocurrency markets out there. And so it's easier, when you enter a position for PrimeXBT to look for a counterpart for your position on the market. That's why the leverage can be higher. If you have like a super large position of ADA, for example, of Cardano, or something like, for example, Doge, you can actually move the market already. So that's why there's a limitation in leverage for that. You can find the same here for example, also Forex. So for most of the major Forex pairs, for example, Euro, US dollar, you can even have a leverage of 1 to 1,000. Again, don't do that. Don't use so much leverage. It's like calling for disaster. For the major indices, so for example, for the German one, the DAX 40, leverage of 1 to 100. And there are, of course, also commodities. Gold, silver with a leverage of 1 to 500. Crude and Brent, so we're both the two different types of oil, 1 to 100, natural gas, which I'm personally not trading, also 1 to 100. So you want to maybe familiarize yourself with that, especially if you want to trade other cryptocurrencies than Bitcoin or Ethereum, that you don't get like nasty surprises when it comes to leverage. So as I said, even if we end the stream today without really having entered here a single trade from our RSI hook system, nonetheless, you are going to see, I promise you that, the trading results of the day later on as a comment under the video. So I want to be like 100% transparent for that. There's no bullshitting, no, I would have done this, kind of stuff. So if the day ends with a minus, the day ends with a minus. This is part of being a trader. Also, of course, the same goes here for the 1 minute Fusion MBI system I'm trying out here today. But I still not losing hope that maybe we see some action here to the upside, that we can still enter a trade here. Yesterday was much more action. Surprisingly, I choose, by the way, to do the first episode of this show on a Tuesday, because normally Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are the days that are really, really best for day trading. On Monday mornings, you have a lot of position taking and revaluating of positions from institutional traders in the morning. So it's the same situation like when an important economic number comes out. For example, the what is it called? The non-farm payrolls. So the US employment report, basically, and which comes out every first Friday of every month at 2:30 CET, that is. And every time that comes out, you see like huge swings to the upside and downside of euro dollar. So in that case, it doesn't make much sense to use systems, purely technical systems like this RSI hook system I'm using here. You want to wait at the sideline. That's why Monday mornings, usually I like to wait a little bit longer until I start my trading. Same goes for Friday evening, because Friday evening, I'm talking here like 1 hour to half hour until the New York Stock Exchanges closes. So that would be 9:30 to 10 p.m. Central European time. I also am very, very cautious, because there's also a lot of profit taking, a lot of positions that are being closed, because especially at the moment, investors, I'm talking about institutional investors here, do not want to have exposure over the weekend, because nobody knows what is going to happen on the weekend. Are things escalating even further in the Ukraine, or is Mr. Putin getting any other crazy ideas of what to do next? Oh, I missed the entry here again. So again, we are not lucky with this one. Close position, close 0.4. Want to do the one-click trading again here. Yep. And here we go. So you can see 3 times in a row, not lucky today. But I'm going to keep on doing this. And should I reach a position size of 1 Bitcoin, I'm going to call it a day for the strategy. Let's see if if Bitcoin today decides to actually find a direction. This reminds me very much of what we saw on the weekend. Let's zoom out here a little bit, maybe to 1 hour. So really this last weekend, that was crazy, and it's sadly continuing here at the moment. We had this crazy sideways range, like with very, very little action to the upside or downside, between 38,500 and 39,500. Very, very unusual for Bitcoin to be stuck to a sideways range like this. And by the way, with significant volume in the sideways range. So this seems to be an area where the price really consolidates at the moment. And sadly, it's continuing. When I saw this on the weekend, I thought to myself, oh, I hope that doesn't mean it's going to be like this on Tuesday. Seems, at least at the moment, it is like this. But we are just going to stick to our rules there. And if we end up losing some money with a strategy, still was worth trying this when I know where to tweak it a little bit. So it gives us more solid entries there. Maybe I'll combine it with some sort of momentum indicator. Next. Another question, 2 questions actually. Captain Cruz, do you trade price action or mainly indicator strategies? Mix of both, any preferences? Day trading, mainly indicator strategies. Long term, I like to use price action as well. So price action, you probably, for example, mean something like this here. It's going down again. It's going to flip soon again. Like, for example, this one here. It's not a prime example, so the one in the middle, let me zoom in here a little bit, which could be called something like a pin bar. So a long wick of a candle, and because it looks like a nail, that's hammered into the market. This is like a typical candlestick pattern for price action, indicates that the market wants to go up in this case. On the contrary, if you see that flipped upside down, so you have the long wick to the north and a red close, a red body, this would be a bearish sign. I like to use those, but I like to use those in combination with areas of support and resistance. So this is not the perfect pin bar here, by the way. I didn't trade that back then, but you could have traded this because it shows a pin bar exactly on an area of support in this case. And as you can see, that was quite a good signal actually. You managed to do the trade all the way to the upside of the band at 45,000 US dollars again. You probably would have had a stop loss somewhere between here. Take some balls, pardon my English, so to say, to do that, because I remember back then the market had the expectation Bitcoin is going to fall sub 30,000. So yeah, pin or price action, in my opinion, can work very well. Not all formations, so especially when we talk about candlestick formations, where, for example, those do not work very well, at least from my experience. In my opinion, and but on daily charts or even weekly charts or monthly charts, pin bars, bullish engulfing patterns. So bullish engulfing pattern, for example. Do we have an example here quickly? So it would be, I'm not seeing here one at the moment, would be that the candle, I'm going to use my not good drawing skills again. So you have one candle here, and the next candle being a bullish one is totally, so that candle, the first one, for example, being red, the next one completely engulfing this red candle being a green candle. This is in combination with support, for example, also a quite good indication that the market is going up. I think the last one I saw in Bitcoin we had back then in June, if I'm not mistaken. Was it that one? Also not a perfect one, but kind of like what you see down here. You see, for a perfect one, actually the green candle should have completely engulfed the red one then. So again, long answer to your question, sorry. I like to use it, absolutely, but only on daily, weekly, and monthly charts. I think especially on charts like 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and so on and so forth, it's not really very reliable to use those now. Good. InfoSec matters. Another question. What indicators are you using to enter into a trade? Well, today, for this system, you can see here Bollinger Bands on the upside, RSI with a couple of special moving averages, so a weighted moving average and an exponential moving average that I'm using to time my entry. So it's a contrarian system in this case, obviously. I'm trying to time the market where lows and bottoms are. Not for everyone. Some people prefer to trade trend following systems out there. So this is the one I'm using today. There are multiple other ones I'm using, obviously, as well, which I'm gradually going to introduce to you guys in the next episodes of the room. So maybe then we also get more trading action. One system, for example, I like to use is based on Renko charts and not on candlestick charts, which could be pretty interesting for you guys. So, maybe tune into the next episode again, or maybe I'm also going to do a video just about that. All right, so it's like crazy, this market. It's just going sideways. I'm going to use the opportunity then to follow a call of the nature. I'm going to be back again in 5 minutes, and then hopefully maybe we get lucky and we're going to give the market another chance for another 15 or 20 minutes to present us with a trading opportunity. Actually, I cannot believe that we're not seeing any action from the RSI hook system at all over all the markets. Also this one here, oil just moving sideways. This is crazy, as if the market is lingering and waiting for something happening out there in terms of fundamental news. Oh, this one is flipping again. That's crazy. So 0.5. This is, by the way, this is very often. I mean, at 1 minute, at the 1 minute time frame, obviously, it's there's a lot of noise in the market. But even if you trade something like this, let's say on 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hour charts, it's very often that with those trend following systems, you have a lot of false signals. And sadly, we are seeing that at the moment, but I'm sure sooner or later today we are going to see a move either to the upside or downside of a couple of $100 at least. And then we will be into this, and when we'll be able to regain everything we probably lost so far. I mean, let's have a look here just for today. That is, yeah, okay, my God, we 20, 30, 35, 36 US dollars. Good, let's see. I'm going to be back again in 5 minutes, and hopefully we're going to see some actions then. See you then, guys. So here I am again. Let's see, one final look. So 5 minutes, Bitcoin, nothing. We're really in the middle there, in the mix. Same here for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour. Oil, surprisingly, the most boring market of the day really today. Nothing going on, no action really. Gold, sideways. The DAX, which we could trade now again after the news came in, but also has joined the middle band there somewhere, euro dollar. Nothing, really, absolutely nothing. Very unusually to not see any action at all in one of those markets. Very, very unusual. So let's call it a day for today. As I saw, first of all, thank you for sticking around with me today. So as you can see today, up to now at least, let's see what the rest of the day brings. Obviously, was a good example for an exercise in patience. And this is really what day trading is about. You have to linger around, and sometimes you have a market boring your mind senseless, so to say. But I promise you, it's just a matter of minutes or hours until a signal develops, and then suddenly it's. I'm very sure we'll have a lot of signals over different markets here that we are going to see. I'm going to edit this video later, so I'm going to do a compressed version of that, maybe compressed down to 10 or 15 minutes. And then I'm going to paste screenshots into the comments, and that is possible for Bitcoin, or I'm going to include this on YouTube. I'm going to include the results of this RSI hooks trading strategy into the this video, so you guys can see really, okay, what did Dirk earn or lose maybe by the end of the day with all of these trading strategies he did today. Next time, let's hope the market is going to be a little bit more volatile. As I said, it's a crazy market at the moment. Either you have crazy volatile days, or you have really days that kind of bore you to death. Thanks for sticking around. Going to see you guys next time. Happy trading for you. I hope you're going to make a bank today. See you then, and bye-bye.